recording. Okay, so FTSE 100, very interesting. Again, similarly to GBP pairs, the weekly time frames are extremely hard to read and navigate through, so let's just break it down in a very informative and simplistic manner. Now, let's just do a 1 to 2 updates here. Okay, so we have the weekly high there. We have also, so this initial weekly high, we spiked through into the highs, rebounded. Next, again, spike through, the body closed below, as you can see. Price was dragged back to the downside. I then took the weekly low from Monday the 28th of November. And then what you can see here is the spike high that was formed. Okay, we should adjust that right onto the top of that wick. I also implemented and added that. So for 1 week, we burst back below. Okay, again, some of these just need sprucing up. We ran into the Monday 9th of September high, the weekly high there, and now we're more or less consolidating in between here and here. If we break this weekly 7,430s, we could likely push all the way back into number 1 here, 7,360, and then again 7,334. 1, 2. Let's have a look at the 2 weekly quickly. The last 2 week, we basically broke down all the way in price. So what I'm looking for with this instrument is a complete rollover in the next few weeks into the first half of January, and maybe the first quarter. We're going to see an extremely large sell-off into bottom ends, maybe back to 7,000. Daily, a little bit easier to read and layer on some price points and confluences. I see, okay, so number 1, we have the daily high at the top. This high Wednesday the 30th of November. Secondary day, we had a few pip push above. Then we had a manipulation point where we dragged price back down. Then I've taken this daily high here, in which we spiked through once, twice, broke down in price again. We have the daily high 7,516 brought across. You can see where we broke below, push back through here. This area, the white dotted line, is the 6-hour liquidity area, which we'll get to in a moment. But then you can see how price reacted into these areas, pushed into the day again, into liquidity, back down, into the day, rejected the day, into the liquidity, and back down. So I now believe it's time for a potential rollover on this pair, and my thesis for FTSE 100 is going to be short. So I'm looking for a price push from this liquidity area. If we take out this band, this is a 6-hourly band, take out this day, we take that out, we come into the weekly and potentially run back into this day over here. But ultimately, overall, my price structure is telling me that 7,250 is an overall target for this pair indeed, and maybe even back down here as well. So that's the thesis on the day. Can we look at VWAP? To VWAP, I'm not sure why it's not being applied on this chart, so let's leave VWAP alone for a second. But 6-hourly gives us some nice some clarity. So over here we have the spike low, and then we also connect to the thrust low here. We ran back, we stayed below the daily there. So again, the daily, make sure these areas, when you're plotting the daily highs and some of the daily lows, it comes with experience and you get better over time with market experience. But make sure when you drop down into the 6-hour time frame, they are still on the chart, and even on a 2-hour and any other preferred time frames you want to use, because you can see clearly where the price comes in back into these areas, may spike above, and they can also serve as precision target points and also execution points. So here on FTSE, very, very simple put. We came into liquidity once, twice, okay, where I put this marking on, and then a third push there as well. Back down, spike back into the high, and look at this rollover that we're getting now on this instrument. Here from the blue candle, the small accumulation within the doji I've brought across. We also have confluence with the weekly. If this breaks, we will see price push forcefully below. Daily here, next point, of course, if we break this area, push through here, we are going to see this entire gap be filled, and maybe, okay, that's a 5 a.m., that's a pre-London push. So pre-London was the, pre-London spike, grab into the previous day, okay, what we had over here, and then the market has pushed and thrust to the upside, been pushed forcefully throughout that London session, and now we've gone from the next liquidity point where we are now looking for the short to come through and give us the push into, I would say, 7,300s, then 7,250. 2 hourly, don't really need to go into too much detail here because the moves have already been made into the 6 hour liquidity areas 1 and 2, and now what we're looking for is just a daily and 6 hour follow through and a push over into these barriers, and we can see something drastic happen. We could see a very large sell-off come through on this instrument.